Read about the things that happen throughout the world. Don't believe in everything you see out here. Read all about it. Read all about it. Listen to the world. Listen to the world.
Hello and welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Dara O'Brien. Joining me this week are Andy Parsons, Joe Caulfield and Greg Davis, Chris Addison, Hugh Dennis and Gary Delaney. We start with a round called If This Is the Answer, What is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. Gary, which category would you like?
Media, please, Dara.
OK, your category is media. The answer is 600 metres. What is the question?
Is it, if Kelvin Mackenzie was to do a bungee jump from a height of 500 metres, what length rope should he be given?
Is it, in fact, what head start would I need if I was competing against Usain Bolt in the 100 metres?
Is it simpler than that? Is it how big are some trees, Dara?
No trees are
I thought it might be simpler.
Is it how far is the Queen's bed from her ensuite bathroom?
How far away can Boris Johnson smell of custard cream?
Is it, in fact, how far can the Proclaimers walk now?
Is it at what distance is Theresa May attractive?
None of the rest of us could do that. But good to have you on board.
Is it when kicking Chris Brown in the bollocks, exactly how long a run-up should you take?
Is it proportionally, if a clown's nose was the size of Dara's head, how long would his shoes be?
Is it how long was the longest runner bean ever grown at the Fukushima nuclear plant?
Is it, in fact, how long would your penis be if all the products in the spam emails worked?
Is it what is the delivery radius of a relatively unambitious pizza company?
Is it? Sorry, we'll move towards the correct answer, please.
Is it the distance that Prince Philip sprinted to get hold of a copy of the French magazine Closer? Am I close?
You can be closer.
Is it, in fact, the distance that they were taking shots of Kate topless?
That is absolutely right. Thank you very, very much, Andy Parsons. Yes, the question I was looking for was, from what approximate distance did a photographer take pictures of the Duchess of Cambridge sunbathing topless? This is the news that the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have taken legal action against French magazine Closer, which has printed topless photographs of Kate.
What's it called,
It's called... I don't know, the French call it Closer for some reason. We have a French woman working the show, and I'm going, sure, it's Closet. She goes, no, Closer. A French court has blocked future publication of the pictures in France, but they've already been published in Italy and Ireland.
There's loads of royals who've been snapped naked, haven't they? Obviously, Harry, you know, now Kate, then we had Andrew before that, Charles before that, Countess of Wessex. I mean, there have been, in fact, so many of them, I think they should persuade a few more of them to do it, and then they could release a charity calendar.
The thing is, isn't it? It is terrible, it's unjustifiable, it's immoral, but I quite want to see the pictures.
Are you saying you haven't seen them yet?
I haven't. I've seen fuzzy versions of them on the...
I think
They're all fuzzy. The pictures were taken from the Hubble telescope.
From the Hubble telescope.
What I found intriguing was I think, I don't know what everyone was, I was certainly waiting for the next time she appeared in public to see if she would acknowledge what had happened to the cameras. And she didn't. She just did the same smile that she always does. Because if someone had photographed my meat and 2 veg, I probably would have come out and gone...
I think the whole thing is just making a mountain out of 2 molehills.
That's a good point.
I'd probably be better, I think, the BBC prefer if we didn't descend into judging the woman's breasts. That would be the incorrect direction.
I think she's annoyed because, and every woman's had this on holiday, because I've looked at the photos, and they're at that awkward angle. When you're topless, you've got to stay at a certain position or it's not attractive, and she's in that reaching for the sun cream position. That's what she's annoyed about. You know, we've all got those photos, like my Uncle Terry, where he popped out of his shorts.
But do you think...
We've all got those holiday photos.
I didn't see that edition of Closer. Joe's Uncle Terry pops out of the shops and his shorts.
Do you think she's genuinely worried about it, though? Don't you think there's just one tiny... Well, do you think there's just one tiny bit of her that's thinking, yeah, where's my sister's arse now, then, eh?
To their credit, no British newspaper editors have published the picture, although they have all had a proper think about it. But the massive hypocrisy of it is astonishing. The Sun, I like it when the Sun gets on its high horse about something. It said, well, no responsible paper would touch this with a barge pole. 2 weeks ago, you were doing everything you could to show us Harry's barge pole.
Which publications have printed the photographs?
Closer.
The Irish Daily Star,
The Irish Daily
because she's
Star.
not your future queen.
Well, that was the Irish Daily Star thing. There's an Italian magazine called Key and the Irish Daily Star both publish it, but they give very different excuses,
Yeah.
right? The Italian excuse is but they are young and they are beautiful and they are in love. And the Irish Daily Star was, she's not our queen.
Yeah.
But when they publish photos like that, and there are always photos like that, not of the royals, but they're, you know, kind of topless photos in magazines shot with a long lens, they are always there's kissing and cuddling in the pool, and then they're putting sun cream on each other. And these are meant to be sexy, erotic. There's nothing less erotic than putting sun cream on your partner's back, is there? It's just something you have to do. And the reason you have to do it is because you can't put sun cream on your own back, so you've got to reach a deal with the person who's going to do it. That's all, isn't it? That's all it is.
I was photographed on a holidays once by Papt, yeah. I was taking a holiday and I was doing exactly that. And the pictures, if you saw them, they were quite shocking. But and it was an intrusion.
That wasn't on holiday, was it, Dara?
No, there was no holiday.
It was at our house, wasn't it, Dara?
Where do we get
the least erotic thing I've ever seen.
Where does a guy in the office find the source photograph?
I believe he has your laptop.
Yes. In other royal news, who's been found in a car park in Leicester?
Stan Collymore.
This is Richard III, isn't it?
It is Richard III, yes.
Do you know about Richard III?
I know a little bit about Richard III, yes.
Well,
Although my image of Richard III would be kind of odd, because we weren't taught a lot of that in school, is of the Shakespeare...
So he was...
I think that was
Skywalker! Your friends cannot save you now! Oh, the Death Star will be quite operational when your friends arrive!
You get a different version. You get a different version to us.
Richard III was the man who lost the War of the Roses to Alan Titchmarsh. And he died at the Battle of Bosworth, and his remains have been found under a car park in Leicester, which is great, but they don't know what to do with him because he's lost his ticket and he's got £6,000 in back payments. He's got to pay another 50 because he's buried across 2 spaces.
I'm amazed that anyone's shocked about finding him. The state of car parks these days, you can't walk 10 feet without putting your feet in a Richard III.
It's not a big deal either, is it? They found him in...
It's not a big deal.
They found Richard... It's not a big deal. They find Prince Harry in a skip most weeks.
It's an amazing addition to Leicester's Hall of Fame. They've got Engelbert Humperdinck, Shawaddy Waddy, Rusty Lee, and now Richard III. It's the worst variety show of all.
All emceed by Gary Lineker.
Please tell me that he comes on at the end.
I'm suspicious it is Richard III, but firstly because, you know, they didn't have car parks in the olden days, and also because they found the bones in a small cardboard box labelled Southern Fried Chicken.
Well,
He's,
that's the reason.
Chickens do have a curvature of the spine.
Yes, they do. Wings.
It is, yes.
And people were a lot smaller then, so it's not
You're
They weren't the size of a chicken.
That's some way I have found Richard III. Just a chicken carcass. Yeah, look. We didn't have to dig. One of the cars pulled out and it was just here. It was just sitting there.
They think he killed the Princess in the Tower. They're not quite sure, but they think it was with a candlestick or the lead piping. That's one thing. And they think that now he was probably quite a good king, in fact. Don't they? He also said a horse, a kingdom for a horse.
I think he should be saying, the Force! Lightning for the Force! Skywalker! That is the greatest thing of everything in the world. Like, the Death Star will be quite operational.
It was a pit beating monkey. This.
Yeah.
I
have
given...
given...
like a Chinese Death Star. This Death Star a lot cheaper than the other Death Star. But it's not fast. You cross my palm with my lightsaber. I tell your fortune.
We will deliver to Endor. Follow me.
You have to correct. I put down the force field so you can get in, innit?
I'm looking forward to the worldwide distribution of this episode.
We were merely doing impressions of one another's impressions.
Yes. I was quite shocked to see the picture of him, because I read today he's only 32. He looks like Doc Cotton.
To be fair to you now, that's not actually a picture of him because they couldn't take pictures at the time. That's probably a painting or something. Yeah.
Paparazzi back then. If his wife was showing her boobs on a balcony, would somebody have got like a tapestry cushion and stuff?
If you've already got the cushion, it's relatively easy just to sew a nipple on the top, and there you go. At the end of that round, the points going to draw Joe and Andy. Now we play a round called Titty Titty Ban Ban. This game involves Joe, Gary and Andy, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This round is a stand-up challenge. I launch the wheel of news, and wherever it chooses to stop, one of our performers must step forward and talk about that subject. The winner is whoever I think is the funniest. OK, here we go. The first subject is... sport. Who wants to give me that? Andy Parsons.
So, it was the Olympic parade last week. It was great seeing it live. Obviously, I had to keep a certain amount of a low profile in the crowd because I was throwing a sickie from work at the time. But it was great. 21 buses driving through London at a steady 2 miles an hour. So very like a normal day in London, really. There was an embarrassing moment, though, when one of the conductors rang the bell on the bus and then got the shit kicked out of him by the blind football team. And I realised, actually, that I could get into any sport during the Olympics. The only sport I couldn't actually get into, dressage. Watching a horse walk and then reverse. They call it horse ballet. I don't think anybody would go and see ballet if it was just some bloke walking a bit quicker, slowing down a bit, stopping, bowing, and then pissing off. And secondly, not many people go to ballet anyway because it's shit.
Thank you very much, Andy Parsons. OK, let's see what the next subject is. And it's the internet. Who wants to come up? Joe.
The internet. You know when you buy things on Amazon and they have recommendations? You know, like the person who purchased this also purchased this. I was thinking I would like to hack into Amazon and put up my own recommendations. So, like, the customer who purchased My Story by Danny Minogue also purchased a length of rope and a wobbly chair. Customers who bought the book Fabulous Photos of Puppies and Kittens also bought Why Men Leave. And customers who bought 50 Shades of Grey also bought A Great Big Cucumber. it's apparently on the rise because of the recession, because we're all short of money. Like in my family, like my granddad has to go into a home, and these places are very expensive, but we found somewhere, and it's really nice, because he's got his own sort of kitchenette, he's got his own shower stall, there's an outside space with plants and shrubs and stuff. Best thing is, it's completely free. We've left him in home base.
OK, that leaves us with Gary. Let's see what topic you've been left with. Spin the wheel. And the topic is family.
Family. Okay. Old lady names are very much back in fashion at the minute, like Lily or Elsie or Rose, and we wanted something like that for our daughter, but we couldn't decide, so in the end we just called her Nan. I told her she'll grow into it. I remember one time my uncle asked me to spell Schadenfreude and I couldn't, but he's dead now and I'm not, so I win. My cousin always introduces himself as Stephen with a PH, and that's because he's slightly acidic. My married friends would always tell me there's someone out there for everyone, and I'd think, wow, she must be a right slag. Knock, knock, who's there? Grandad. Shit, stop the funeral. Grandad asked me how to print on his new computer. I said, just Control P. He said, I haven't been able to do that for years. My confirmed bachelor uncle always describes himself as asexual, but I'd also add B, gay. As a child, I was always told that if I touched myself down there, God was watching, but it turned out it was just Uncle Peter. Thank you.
Lovely stuff, well done. Point again, I'm going to Gary Delaney. Come on back. Our next round is called Headliners. Here's a picture of Education Secretary Michael Gove. But what does GAEC stand for?
Is it Goverton's Elf College?
Genetic abnormality explains chin.
Amazing.
Is it something, cock?
Is it Michael Gove saying, gosh, actual ethnic children?
Is it in fact what the kids have done to him? Glued arse to edge of chair.
Is it Gove Adonis, exuding charisma?
Is it adult literacy rates poor?
Gollum advises Earth children.
Is it Grindr adventure ends catastrophically?
OK, let's just give the correct
All right,
answer,
it is
because
in
frankly,
fact-
nothing's going to top that.
Gove announced as emergency contraceptive.
Let's have the correct answer, please.
It's going to be something about Gove announces exam change.
Very good. Thank you very much. You Yes, the answer I was looking for was Gove announces exam changes. This is the news that Education Secretary Michael Gove has announced a new English baccalaureate certificate to replace GCSEs. From 2015, students will work towards a demanding 3-hour exam at the end of a 2-year course rather than the current combination of coursework, modular exams and multiple retakes.
He's even invented an exam that thicker kids won't be able to pronounce. It's the back of what? The back of what? The back. Oh, give me a shovel, I'll go down to mine.
I think the idea is if you're academic, then you get a baccalaureate, and otherwise they teach you practical skills like how to baccalaureate.
The Tories have assured us that under this system no child will be left behind. But how can we take Tory promises that no child will be left behind seriously when their leader's David Cameron?
What's the, do you know what the abbreviation is?
It's called
EBC.
EBAC.
It's called the EBAC.
Which is,
EBAC, which is when Yorkshire people make payment over the internet.
I thought they were something from Star Wars, isn't that?
Yes, it was.
Evac.
Do you know who hated
I
the
bet you
evacs?
can't do the impression.
Your evacs will not qualify you to run the Empire. Nah.
There's been a lot of debate over, whether grades have been devalued. And I was discussing that recently with my nephew, Professor Timmy.
So, hang on, sorry, because it's one of these things that I genuinely am always perplexed about, coming from a different country as I have, with my spices and my
Really?
silks.
You don't-
I came to your nation, and there's so many great things about it, except your exams, which are mad. And not that the education, by the way, is great. I'm not saying anything about the education people get here; it's fantastic. But the exams are mad.
There are people who, when confronted with an exam paper, just go to pieces completely and forget how to count, and I think it's very unfair that they are marking the papers.
When I...
There are people who just shouldn't be taking exams. My friend Carl was at sixth form college with a girl who got her A-level results, and when she pulled out the piece of paper with the 3 letters telling her what her future would be,
Yeah.
she went, that spells none.
People make an awful lot about the pressure that kids are under, and I suppose they are, but speaking as an ex-teacher, when it comes to exam time, there's far worse pressure on the teachers, because you have to spend sometimes 4 or 5 hours in those halls just walking up and down, and it's a recipe for insanity. I had no choice when I was teaching but to invent a game called Campile. It was just to see who could walk up and down the aisle the campest. We started off just sort of slightly mincing. Honestly, by the end of it, I was walking down a full aisle of children like this. And I knew it was time for me to leave teaching when I got to the end of one aisle, genuinely. During an actual GCSE, a kid looked up at me and went...
So were you essentially voguing your way?
I'm not exaggerating. By the end of it, I was like...
The thing is, they want to make the exams harder, don't they? But surely they're hard enough already if your teacher is walking up and down, camping it up.
Oh, no, I'm still qualified, technically. We'll have to cut this bit out.
Really? Is that your safety net?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Do you think anybody, having seen you in In-Betweeners, anybody is ever going to
Well, you've always got to trade. What is the problem with it?
I did a gig at the University of Central England, which is in Birmingham. That's what they're trying to hide from you. And as an opening line, I said, UCE, so-called, because that's the grades it takes to get in. But I had to explain it to them.
I'll tell you, I was in an exam when I was at school. My mate, at the back of the hall went... we were all waiting to leave. Someone at the back of the hall went... Meow. And Mr Mearden, the exam invigilator, went... And then someone else went... Meow. And then... Meow. From different parts of the hall. And it led to my favourite sentence I've ever heard come out of an adult's mouth, which was, all right, no one leaves until the meowing stops.
At the end of that round, the points go to Chris, Hugh and Gary. Now we come to scenes we'd like to see. So if everyone can make their way over to the performance area, I'll read out this week's topics and then we'll see what our panelists can come up with. OK, here we go. The first subject is unlikely things to hear on a property show.
6 months in and Mike has fallen out with the builder. There was no window there and neither of them noticed.
With violence and strong language from the very beginning, it's a place in the Sunderland.
Yes, it is north-facing, but on the plus side, it's a caravan, so you can just turn it round.
Get that fish out of here, it stinks. You should never leave a place in the sun.
We've just 1 hour while Gina's at the shops to improve her flat in Luton. We're setting it on fire and moving it to Oxford.
Well, it's another setback. This time the structure is damaged. And for the first time, I'm asking myself, will the Death Star ever be finished?
And more information on how to get together a deposit for a house can be found in our free leaflet, When Will Nana Die?
So, you bought it at auction for £100,000, but what exactly are you going to do with Middlesbrough?
Well, what we've done is we've knocked the wall between the kitchen and the lounge down, and what that's done is killed all the people who were sitting in the lounge.
The kitchen's done in a very modern style. We call it crack den.
We're looking at a well-equipped council house in Hull. Fridge, oven, washing machine. In fact, this is one of the nicest gardens we've seen.
This week on Grand Designs, my gran designs a house. It'll be shit. She's got terrible arthritis and not even a rudimentary qualification.
3 coats of varnish and a new rug, and Brucey is ready for his next show.
Welcome to the 74-hour-long obsessive-compulsive episode of How Clean Is Your House?
Knock it down, tarmac it, fuck 'em.
OK, the next topic is unlikely things to hear in a maternity ward.
Mr. Parsons, your baby looks exactly like you. But mind you, so does every other baby.
There are complications, I'm afraid. For a start, I'm not a doctor.
I definitely can see the head. You should do your flies up, Doctor.
Bad news, I'm afraid. He's ginger. Your Highness.
So, would you like to hold the little fella? Or shall I give you the baby?
Mrs. Jones, I'm going to need you to push. And then when we've got the ambulance started, we'll try and get you to hospital.
Oh, God, is that my baby? I've given birth to Andy Parsons.
I'd stay up that end and talk to your wife if I were you, Mr. Smith. It looks like Alien versus Predator down here.
And this is the ward for unwanted twins. We call it the Jed ward.
Basically, you just turn them over and slap them on the arse. These nurses' parties are great.
Nice to see you again, Mrs. Jolie. If you'd like to just move along to the next window to collect your order.
Oh, this isn't your first baby, is it?
You have a bouncing baby boy. I know that because I dropped him in the delivery room.
OK, big breath in, hold it, and pass the joint to the midwife.
If you're not in when we deliver your baby, is it OK if we leave it with a neighbour?
That's good.
No, I do like it, darling. Just not in that colour.
I know you're in great pain, but we need to know your name. Right. Doctor for Mrs. Fuckoff.
OK, give it a round of applause to the great Joe and Andy! And that's the end of the show. This week's winners are Andy Parsons, Joe Corfield and Greg Davis. Commiserations to Chris Allison, Hugh Dennis and Gary Delaney. Thanks for watching. I'm Darrell Breen. Good night.
Greg Davis stars in new BBC Three comedy Cuckoo on Tuesday at 10. There's more on that to follow. Well, here later, there's Banter on BBC Two with Ray Winston, Brian Cox and Kelly Jones from the Stereophonics on The Rob Brydon Show at 11:20.